Hi class, this is Erin Quigley. I'm here to talk to you about who rules in Pakistan's equivalent of the Wild Wild West. So as a point of comparison, let's take a look at the American West.
The dark forces always well surprised then when this melting pot of dreamers started to bubble over. Well, there was a streak of violence that ran through the West for a variety of reasons. One is that it was simply an isolated place. In the beginning, of course, there were wild animals to contend with, such as bear and deer. There were Indians to contend with, and finally, there was each other to contend with. Many pioneers took a no-nonsense approach to justice.
People in the West were oftentimes prone to settle their differences with a gun. Their political difference, their social differences, their racial differences. Settle it with a gun quicker than people elsewhere.
Recap, the federally administered tribal areas in India and then in Pakistan were always on the fringe. The people lived in a very mountainous area. The governing bodies, the British Raj and the Pakistani government, were not interested in reforming the people, just wanted their trade routes to be left open. Where does that leave us now? Let's take a look at who ruled then and how that affects today. So in antiquity, you had the tribal leaders. Today, you have the Pakistani government. The Pakistani government controls everything except for these tribal areas because of the Frontier Crimes Regulation under the British Raj. It denies basic human rights and civil rights to the people. The Frontier Crimes Regulation has made it very hard for democratic justice to be served. People wait sometimes years in jail just to see a judge. But there is change ahead, and let's look at that change. You have people that, under the Frontier Crimes Regulation, the same theory or the same philosophy that they are free to kill each other as long as they don't involve the government, which is true. You also see jirgas being held. Now, in antiquity, there were tribal elders that were running or performing the jirga. Today, you have religious fanatics, the Taliban that is come and infiltrated the area. They are now holding jirgas instead of these tribal elders, which means that they are pushing their strict interpretation of the Sharia law or the Islamic code for everyday living. The Pakistani Taliban has a strong enough footing in the FATA that the local police do not get involved in issues of like wrongful imprisonment or beatings or like rape, things that are used to intimidate or to punish the people. One reason that the Taliban has become so popular in the federally administered tribal areas is that the poor, powerless, and uneducated population there see the Taliban as a quick way to get justice. So for Najma, who's there in pink, her brothers and her cousins could join the Taliban to fight the monsters that dishonored the family. But as Malala says, where does it end? If one man in one family is killed or hurt by another man, revenge must be extracted to restore Neng. It can be taken by killing any member of the attacker's family, and then they must in turn have revenge, and they must have turn and have revenge. There's no limit. So, what's going to be a good government here? They've had the tribal government that was quick and brutal in the past. Then came democratic government that was super time intensive. And today they've got more religious fanatic government. Although the majority of the people in the federally administered tribal area are peaceful farmers and shepherds, they're being ruled by these traditions of Neng and repression through the FCR, which has stripped them of their human rights and kept them powerless to change it. The Taliban rules in the federally administered tribal area of Pakistan, but if it is the Wild Wild West, maybe a new sheriff will come into power and straighten things out.